Okay, so I thought a second video would be appropriate. I've just watched the results from one show. Well done, Coventry. Sunderland didn't get it. I'm not hugely surprised. We weren't the favourites. Um, I'm just not surprised. I'm disappointed, obviously. The Facebook group was thanking everyone, and I'm pleased to see a lot of people were thanking the organisers. I think that's important because they did put a lot of work into it. I thank them. An interesting side story. Apparently, the arts minister, John Glenn, who was reading out the announcement, apparently his train was delayed at Peterborough. He was travelling from London to Hull to make the announcement. His train was delayed, so that seems appropriate in light of my recent video on railway services. I'll just say a few brief things about Coventry and about my thoughts on maybe a few more words on Sunderland. I won't keep this very long. Firstly, Coventry, I've only been there once. That was about 11, 12 years ago, very briefly. Coventry is obviously well known as a city that reinvented itself after the Second World War. It was heavily blitzed in the war, and its cathedral was famously destroyed. Coventry was by no means the only city that was heavily blitzed, but in some ways it became the best documented outside London. Um, it's known for that. It's also known for the famous legend of Lady Godiva. But I have to be honest, I don't know a great deal else about Coventry. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I genuinely just don't know that much about the city. Um, Maybe in the future I'll get to visit again. But anyway, well done, Coventry. I'm sure they've done something to deserve it. I'm sure Coventry's got many points of interest. I've heard of the Belgrade Theatre. Apparently, it's a quite well known theatre. Um, but honestly, I don't know very much else. Jaguar, I think, was produced in Coventry, so it's well known for the automobile industry. Other than that, I don't know a great deal. So maybe any people from Coventry could fill me in. Now, about Sunderland, too early to say why we didn't get it because the announcement was very brief because presumably this delay. So there was very, very little time for anything. The whole thing took about a minute. And obviously the other cities that didn't win tonight, Paisley, Stoke-on-Trent, Swansea, are also going to be reflecting on why they didn't get it. Um, a thought has occurred to me, and I accept this may not be very popular with Mackems. I suppose I can't really call myself a Mackem because I was born here, but I'm an honorary Mackem. I think I've got a right to call myself an honorary Mackem in the sense that I've grown up here. And here's the thing: Sunderland has been a city now for 25 years. We got city status in 1992. But one thing that you notice in this place is that people always refer to Sunderland as the town. Now, this may seem like I'm focusing on semantics, but we bidded to be the UK capital of culture, city of culture, as it's also, that's a crossover term. Now, how can we be UK city of culture if people won't even give the city its correct title as a city? Um, Sunderland is a city. Now, I totally appreciate that for people, especially the older generation, that the idea of the town is deeply ingrained. And it's not, I'm not saying people, you can't say that, but it's just an idea. We are a city. So why not talk about the city centre, the city? Um, Sunderland probably is not the most cosmopolitan of places. It's not as cosmopolitan as Newcastle, but we do have a university. We do have people from all over the world here, and we are a city. So it's just an idea. Let's start talking about ourselves as the city of Sunderland, or we may as well lose that title. We may as well lose the status of being a city. If people, to be honest, it does somewhat irritate me. And I know that I'm probably in the minority and I might not be popular for saying that, but we are a city. We've been a city for a quarter of a century. Let's call ourselves a city because that's what we are. We have a quarter of a million people, including the wider Sunderland area. We're not a particularly small place. We're not a huge city, but we're not, by the same token, a particularly small place. We have got 174,000 people in the immediate city of Sunderland and 285,000 in the authority. Um, and we've had the stats for 25 years. It's something I've never quite understood. I think it's partly because it's ingrained in people's mind, but even the younger generation's always like the town, the town, the town. Now maybe, just maybe, the deciding committee thought about that. Maybe they were assessing the bids, they were gauging local opinion. I don't know what it's like in Paisley or Stoke-on-Trent. Certainly, I would imagine Swansea and Coventry people would refer to those places as a city. I do. I've been to Coventry, and I don't think any people from Coventry, from what I gather, talk about the town of Coventry. I don't think any people from Swansea talk about the town of Swansea. Paisley is probably the place that has got the most recent city status, and it's the smallest. But I don't know. Do the good people of Paisley talk about the town of Paisley or the city of Paisley? Maybe capital of culture doesn't technically have to be a city, but I think that's part of the understanding. Anyway, it's just an idea. Fellow Sunderland people, we've been a city for 25 years. It's just my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, as you're entitled to yours. But, we've been a city for 25 years. Why not call it what it is? Or maybe we should lose city status. I must admit, it irritates me. Anyway, well done, Coventry, and well done to the Sunderland organising people. You done your best, and there's absolutely no shame in trying your best. Ignore the cynicism, don't ignore the criticism, but don't let people who only want to throw out negativity with nothing constructive at all to argue, i.e., people who just want to complain but don't offer any sort of alternative or any suggestion. I'm a great believer that if you complain about something, that's fine, but offer an alternative. That's the point. One thing I've never liked is people who just complain and don't offer an alternative solution or a suggestion as to an improvement. There were a few comments like that on the Facebook page, just like, "Oh, we're terrible, we're blah 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 blah." It's just total negativity. That does nothing for anyone. Do something instead of just complaining. Do something constructive. But I'll leave it there. Um, Disappointing that the city of Sunderland didn't win tonight, but there you have it. Thanks for watching, and well done, Coventry.